and welcome to Raise the Platform. You are on SYN 90.7 and you are on air with Rosie and Ariane.
Hey.
Hello. Veronica, unfortunately, is not here because she's not feeling well. Shout out to Veronica. Hope you feel better soon. We miss you.
Yeah, we love you, Veronica.
And we hope you had a fantastic 21st birthday last week.
Woo! Message us in. We want to hear all about it.
Yes, message us on Facebook. Or you can Twitter us at RTPSYN. Or you can write a comment on our YouTube channel because we have a YouTube channel now.
Or if you're just listening, Veronica, just text me because you don't have Facebook.
So, yes, we have a very exciting show ahead of us today. We are no longer going to be talking about synesthesia. We're going to leave that for another day. But we're going to continue our discussion. Maybe next week. I'm hoping next week we have a discussion about wheelchair access. Because I'm hoping to have an interview with a guy who is organising a music festival in Geelong.
Oh, yes, I've heard about that.
Yeah, and he's trying to make it accessible. So hopefully I get an interview with him and we can talk about that.
I reckon if it ends up happening, we should all go as part of like a Raise the Platform excursion.
Yes, that'll be awesome. I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So we've got a really big show ahead of you. We'll probably have another disability rant, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So stay tuned. You are on SYN 90.7's Raise the Platform, and the first song we have for you is one of my favourites, DZ Death Rays with Gina Works at Hearts. You are on Raise the Platform on SYN 90.7. SYN 90.7, and that was DZ Death Rays with Gina Works at Hearts, one of my favourite songs.
Oh, it did sound pretty good. I haven't really heard much of their music, but I would like to get into more of that sort of stuff. Today we're going to be talking about the huge debate that people with disabilities sometimes have, which is pride versus cure.
Yes.
Pride over the disability you have versus wanting a cure to not have your disability anymore.
Yes.
Now, me and Rosie were talking during the ad break, and we're half-half, and we're going to tell you why.
Yes, we are.
So we'd just like to give a sensitivity warning on this topic, because it does bring into effect the whole mental sort of status and...
Yeah, it's a tough topic to talk about. A lot of people, are very sensitive to this topic because either they feel very passionate about being disabled or they feel passionate about their disability holding them back.
Yeah.
So if, you are sensitive to this and you don't want to listen in, you can either turn off your radios for a little while and then tune back in the next couple of minutes.
Or just dial it down.
Or just dial it down, yeah.
Put it on the low.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also I'd like to point out that these are our opinions for what we feel. And we're not talking about anyone else. We're talking about our own opinions.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you want to start?
Oh, well, I was thinking about this previously. And I was saying that I'm half-half because obviously I am a disability advocate, but I also have mental illness. Now, some people say suffer from depression or suffer with this, or suffer from a disability, but it's not suffering per se, it's struggling to come to terms with what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I get pissed off because I can't walk 30 metres to take myself to the toilet.
Yeah.
So if I'm really busting and there's no one around, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
And that is the sort of time where you get to the point where you're like, oh, I wish this was gone now. But unless they're gonna hypothetically come up with a magic pill that I can take and suddenly my brain cells regrow themselves, and I don't have holes in my brain anymore that have now healed over with the permanent brain damage. That's not going to happen.
No.
In my lifetime or anytime soon, probably. So, if at all. So, people talk about wanting research for a cure with disability, but there's a whole bunch of people that go, no, we're just proud of who we are, and it's disability pride. It's, you've got to come to terms with your disability and be proud of who you are. I'm all for that. But then there's the type of people with disability who are like me, who I have some form of pain every day, whether it be a small amount of pain or a large amount. I have some form of pain related to my disability every day.
Yeah.
Like it can just be a sore toe, or it can be an entirely sore back that stops me from doing anything. So, if I could have one day without pain, I think I've had one day without pain in the last 5 years. When you put that into perspective, it just gets beyond. And then when I've been in hospital and you're on your painkillers for when you've had your surgery or whatever, but then your body is reacting to those like it usually would. And when my body reacts to, like, opiates, I throw up. So if I'm not in any pain, I'm usually throwing up at the same time. So,
not fun.
there's just times where you wish you didn't have to go through the whole funding versus government thing.
Yeah.
And you wish you didn't have to go through the pain thing or...
And also, like, looking from, the other side, it always looks like the grass is always greener on the other side. So you're looking at all these able-bodies and you think, oh, you've got it so easy, you don't have to deal with this and this, and that's also another thing that,
But then some able-bodies have the thing about, but yours is cool because you don't have to walk everywhere. No, it's not.
Yeah.
Used to think it was when I was in grade 5 and people were fighting over who was going to push me at school. But when you grow up and you go through puberty and you get... I've got scoliosis. That's typically a teenage girl scoliosis. So it's not actually related to my CP, but my CP does make managing it worse.
Yeah.
And because the reason why I didn't have the operation was because my CP could possibly hinder the recovery of the operation.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, versus a little bit of pain manageable with, painkillers and, one bad day maybe once a month versus having an operation that could possibly not take away any of my pain and make things worse for me.
Yeah,
I know
I've had
which one
operations
I'd
that have
choose.
made things
not
as great as they were. I'll probably talk a bit about that after this next song. We are chatting about disability pride versus cure, I guess. That's what we'll call it.
Yes.
You are on Ray's platform on Sin 90.7. We are talking disability pride versus cure. And before the song, you heard a bit of Ariane and her opinions. And now I think it's time for me to tell you mine.
Yes, do go on.
So I am the same with you. I'm kind of like in the middle. I have a brother that's very into cures. We have this argument all the time about, in like 50 years' time, there'll be a cure and it'll be available and you'll be walking normally and you won't have to use your wheelchair and everything will be fine. And I always say to him that that's great, but wouldn't it be great if in 50 years' time everyone just accepts that there's people with disabilities. So the way I see it, I'm going to bring you back to X-Men, right? Have you watched X-Men?
Yeah.
Have you watched the movie where there's a cure for the mutant gene?
Are you talking about the most recent one?
No, it's not the most recent one. I think it's like the third one.
Okay.
Anyway, so basically, they find a mutant who pretty much cures all the other mutants. And then, so there's a character called Rogue, and her mutant power is when she touches someone, she takes, like, sucks their life form. So if she touches another mutant, she gets their powers, but if she touches a non-mutant, they die. So she would love to not be a mutant, and she would love to be a human. And then there's another mutant called Storm, and she controls the weather, and she's very, very much like, there's nothing wrong with us, we're fine the way we are. And I feel like I'm a little bit like Storm. I'm a bit of a dick when it comes to it, because I forget about the people who, suffer from chronic illness, who are in pain, people who, have disabilities that aren't exactly very livable. Whereas I have a very livable disability. I have spina bifida. I use a wheelchair, but I can also walk on my walking sticks. And I'm pretty independent. So I've got to think about other people when I do this and not come across as a total
You can drive
dick.
a car as well.
I can drive a car, yeah. So
whereas you put me on the road, I've only really got one hand that functions semi-normally. So the only thing I can't do with my right hand is write. But if you said to me, I've got to try and operate a car with my left and right hand, I'd be on the freeway killing people.
Yeah,
so
that would not be good.
You definitely don't want to put me behind the wheel of a car. But people like Rosie, all good.
Well, yes. I'm sure my friends would probably think otherwise, but yeah, I'm great. I'm a great driver. It's fantastic. So if there was a cure, it depends also, because I have different parts of my disability that affect me in different ways.
Yeah.
So, like, having a bladder that would work, would be great. That'd be fantastic. So, but then there is, like, operations that you can have, like bladder augmentations and stuff that sound pretty painful, and there's, cancer risks, and, there's a lot to think about when it comes to those things as well.
Like, there's pros, but there's, like, you might be able to hold on a bit longer, but there's definitely lots and lots of cons, and you've got to weigh them up.
And everyone's different as
what's
well.
worth it. Like I was talking about why I didn't have my back surgery is because I went to get a second opinion, and he said it won't necessarily get rid of any of the pain you're having. We'll just make it easier for you to put clothes on. So it's like, would I rather go through a massive operation that's going to take months and months and maybe even years to recover from, and make it a bit easier for me to put clothes on? Or would I rather not and just keep going the way I am? Because most of the time I'm comfortable. I only have, like, a couple of bad days a month or whatever.
Yeah, you've kind of got to weigh up your bad days from your good days, I guess. But I guess because it depends on your disability as well. Like I think that they need to make the world a bit more accessible for people with different disabilities. Like, and not just people in wheelchairs, but people that are blind, people that are deaf. There's so many different...
depends. Yeah, there's so many different disabilities that need more help. But it also depends on the people you have around you. Like, my family are quite positive, but I know families that are so pro-cure that one of my friends, when she told her dad that she wouldn't take if it was an option, she wouldn't take it, her dad said, yes, you would, because I'd force it down your throat. So like...
That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's like people that are so anti any sort of disability, and you're like, how do you get on in life? What is it like when you what's that word? Like when you see something you encounter, that's it.
Yeah.
Encounter something you're uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
What are you going to be like?
Yeah.
And then again, that's why my relationship fell apart. For those listeners that aren't aware of what's been happening in my life, I was engaged and now I'm not, because my relationship fell apart because he started to say to me, "Oh, I feel more like a carer than a boyfriend." And I said, "Well, you knew that this was part of the deal before we even started going out, because I checked if you were okay with it, and you said it was fine. And now you're saying my disability is becoming a problem. So, A, I can't help having a disability. B, I can't help needing help in the loos. Like, that's always going to... And I can't help needing help getting dressed. Like, there are so many things that I wish I could do by myself vis-a-vis those two things. But I can't.
I sometimes just think that there just needs to be more, like, we don't need to change, other people need to change. Like, there needs to be more accepting people in the world. Like, it's crazy that there's so many people out there looking for cures, you know, having children with disabilities and being so pro-cure and saying if there was a cure, I'd, you know, shove it down your throat. Like, there needs to be people that are like, hey, this isn't very accessible, let's build a ramp here, and hey, what I just said was a bit insensitive, maybe I shouldn't use those words.
It's like my partner had a disability himself, so he knows it wasn't physical, but he knows the sort of expectations that people go down lower when he says, "Oh, I've got attention deficit disorder." They're gonna immediately think less of him because, you know, he has trouble concentrating. And he hates that. So, of course, I'm going to hate it when someone says to me, "Oh, by the way, your disability's becoming an issue." It's a part of who I am. If you love me enough, you won't care.
And this will be like a good segue into another show that we're going to do, and that's on terminology and, like, this idea that, like, disability is a bad word. Like, oh my gosh, you're disabled, like, you know, instantly means that, you know, that you're like a, you know, poor person that can't do things. And
well, it instantly, I don't actually like the word disabled because it instantly, like, you're unable to do things. Like, I found different ways, the things I couldn't do. Yeah, I may have not been able to do them, but some things I can do now because I found a different way of doing them that achieves the same goal.
Yeah.
So I like to say, not that I'm unable to do something. Yeah, I'm alright with saying I'm unable to walk long distances because I can't, or I'm unable to take myself to the toilet because I can't. But unless if there's something that I've taught myself how to do in a different way, I like to say it's a challenge.
Yeah.
Like I'm physically challenged rather than, you know, I'm disabled, I can't do something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. On that note, I think we should go to another song because we've been chatting this has been a really fantastic conversation. We'll continue the conversation after this song. This is Boy and Bear with Limit of Love. You are on Sin 90.7's Raise the Platform.
Would want to give a perspective on this, and sort of thought, I have a friend who's got a hidden disability, chronic fatigue syndrome, or CFS. Her name's Naomi, and she says, "Oh, people are like, oh, disability pride, whatever," and she's like, "But I would give anything not to have not to have CFS because it limits what I can do. how long I can be out for, who I can be around, because she also has sensitivities to, like, chemicals and stuff.
Yeah.
So she's having her house treated, she lives in a unit.
Yeah.
She's having it treated for mould and flooding. While that's happening, she can't actually live there because her sensitivity is so high that she can't live there.
So what's she doing instead?
She's living in the country with her dad and commuting back and forth when she has to go to the house to oversee the works. But the other thing was that her room got, like, so dusty and dirty and stuff because she's not able to clean as much as other people would be able to clean, that she was having to sleep outside in her courtyard in a tent.
Wow.
Because she couldn't sleep in her own bedroom.
Gosh. That would have been quite annoying.
She's like, I'd give anything not to have this. And people are just like, disability pride.
Well, it's understandable. Like I said before, you know, it's hard to not be a dick about it because when you have a livable disability, because you forget about the people who are actually struggling and who would actually do anything to not have their disability. You know, like people with, like, you know, disabilities where their brain works fine, but their bodies just, you know, don't do what their brain is telling them to do, and you know, that stuff like that would just be absolutely horrible.
Or
and really
people that have life-limiting disabilities as well. Because there's so many of them, like different forms of spinal muscular dystrophy are life-limiting.
Yeah.
And spinal muscular atrophy, I think, is also.
Yeah.
So it's like I've got friends with those disabilities. Luckily, one of them has the form where it means he's not going to die. But, you know, I've heard of stories where, you know, there's guys with muscular dystrophy that get into their 20s and then are planning their own funerals because they know they're going to die.
That's
and
horrible.
It's like you don't want to live like that, thinking when could be my last day and what do I have to do before that, you know?
Yeah, no, it's horrible. And we are doing a sensitive warning again. I'll just so for people out there who are feeling like they want to chat to someone, you're feeling a little bit low, we have a few numbers you can call. You can call Beyond Blue on 1300 22 4636.
Kids Helpline on 1800 55 1800, or Lifeline on 13 11 14.
Yes, so feel free to give them a call if you need to chat to someone. We are talking Cure versus disability pride, but I also believe that you have a disability rant for us, Ariane.
Oh yes, I do. I have a rant. You ready?
I am so ready.
Okay. So basically, what's been happening is where I live, when you go to get off the train, this is an access to public transport one.
Excellent.
There's a okay, you have to get the ramp out, and then there's this massive, like, incline down to the actual platform. You know, you've been there last week.
Yeah.
So you can talk about this as well. But what I found out from one of my train drivers, I think it was yesterday, was they've got the money aside to fix it, but they haven't drawn up the plans yet.
Oh.
And it's like, well, how long is it going to take? And he said, yeah, I know, because we're all worried about it too. Like, the train drivers themselves are worried about getting people off the train because they don't want to hurt anybody. Or
they don't have an idea of when it's going to be, the plan's going to be made.
The thing is that Metro just don't communicate properly.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we're doing these works, but we're only going to give you a week's notice.
Okay.
You know, so when that is affecting my station, I probably will only get a week notice. Oh, by the way, there's going to be no trains to the city on this platform between such and such a time.
Yeah.
And they seem to think, and I don't know why, that weekends and school holidays are the best time to do these works.
I know, right?
Like, people don't have lives. And train drivers apparently can be, you know, shoved about and told what they're doing, you know, on little notice. Yeah. And it's just like, it's not acceptable. It's not acceptable for anyone else, regardless of whether you have a disability or not. So why should it be acceptable for Metro?
Exactly. You know, I've got a bit of a rant too, but it's going to be really quick. And that's because they're doing works at my station as well. And while they were doing works, they've done like a little bit of works on the parking lot. Or not parking, car park. Parking lot is the American version, and I've been saying it like for ages.
That's all right.
The car park. And they've gotten rid of the disabled parking. There's only one disabled parking spot, mind you. There's only one. There's not more than one. There's only one. And they've gotten rid of it. And the other day I was coming into the city and I had to park like ages away because there was just no parks available. And then coming home, they were doing works on the train line, so I had to like go around the long way to get to my car.
Well, you know what? There's a little parking lot of mine, like you've got to walk out of it and past the bus stops, and then there's this little parking lot. And that parking lot has like 4 disabled parking spaces.
That's fantastic.
And it's like, that's good, but why can't you put more disabled parking spaces in other places?
Exactly. And just one always just seems so silly to me. Like, are they just expecting like one person to carpool all the disabled people?
There's gonna be more than one crip who needs to use the car park.
Exactly. Like we're not calling off each other, going, "Hey, going to the city this day? Do you want to go to this station? Let's all carpool in one car." Like, fit 10 wheelchairs in this one car to fit in this one park. Like, that's
because that's totally possible. We were actually talking about, at one stage, getting multiple manual wheelchairs into one car. Now, you two, I believe, have done this.
Yes. By the way, there's a special guest in the studio that will be chatting on air probably after a song towards the end of the show.
Hence why I said you two, but then remembered we haven't actually
introduced her yet. So stay tuned, guys. It's very exciting. We will talk about how well we are at playing wheelchair Tetris after this song. This is Alice in Wonderland with You Don't Know. You are on Raise the Platform. You are on Raise a Platform on SYN 90.7, and that was Alice in Wonderland with You Don't Know. We are in the studio with myself, Rosie, Ariane, and our very, very special guest who has just been finished training today, Alex. How's it going, Alex?
I'm so good. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! You're on radio! Alex will be one of the main hosts on Raise the Platform from now on.
Yeah. Very exciting. And you may have heard Alex in the past when we did an interview on cycle power.
Yes. So Alex, you have a adventure chair that I was involved with, so I'll help you through it. Because before the song we were talking about wheelchair Tetris, getting wheelchairs in the car. Because we were making jokes about parking spots and stuff.
Yes.
So do you want to tell us about the time we managed to get 3 people and 3 wheelchairs into one tiny, tiny car?
Yes. Well, it was actually a pretty bad situation. Yeah. We were travelling from Ballarat to Torquay.
Oh my God.
For gigs, of course, because gigs are life.
Yep.
So one of our friends who was travelling with us in her car actually broke down.
Oh my god.
20 minutes out of Ballarat.
Oh my god.
So we had to get her chair.
So you just left Ballarat to go to Torquay?
Yes. Yes.
Oh
so
my
we hadn't gotten too far. This is
No.
actually a funny story.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so
laugh through this, just so
we
you know.
waited an hour for the tow truck
Yeah.
on the side of the freeway. So then we had to get our friend into my car that already had Rosie in it.
Yep.
And her wheelchair and all of her belongings, because we were obviously staying for a few days. So a few days of clothes, and so everybody had, pillows and suitcases and
Wheelchairs.
I think there was swag.
There was a swag. There's always swag.
There's always swag. Yes. So we had to play Tetris with 3 wheelchairs and 3 people in my tiny car.
Oh.
I do not own a 4-wheel drive. It is a Subaru Impreza. So it was fun.
Oh, they are tiny, aren't they?
Yes.
How do you fit it all in there?
Well,
Magical. There's
magic.
a photo. Maybe I'll post the photo
Magic,
on the Razer platform.
This is how you fit 3 wheelchairs and 3 people
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
a Subaru Impreza.
The story gets more funny though, because we waited for a while, and then we went back to Ballarat to drop off our friend's car at our friend's place, who lives in Ballarat. So, and then we
We got pretty much the
pretty
same
much
place.
the same place, yeah. So
And
back
then
towards Torquay.
and our friend forgot her foot plates for her wheelchair,
Yeah.
and they are kind of an important need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to go
Where were the footplates?
In a car.
in her car.
Yeah.
Oh.
That are back in Ballarat.
Oh, at the towing place.
Yeah.
Oh god.
So we
yeah.
had to go
we had
all the way back.
all the way back.
I think we had
So
3 goes,
how
didn't we?
far?
Yeah, we had 3 goes.
How far had you gotten before she realised she'd left her foot?
The same place whereabouts that she got
Her car broke
her
down.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So
Yeah.
we had 3 goes. What was the third go?
I can't remember.
I remember there was 3 goes.
There was 3
It was
goes, 'cause
really
there was-
funny.
In
So
the
we tried to
picture, there
go-
was 3 goes. I don't know.
Did you get
I
to
think we
Torquay?
forgot something.
Yeah, I think we kept forgetting things. And
We
going
we
back.
definitely forgot something.
Yeah.
But yes, it's always a good thing to be the driver in this situation, because
Yeah.
you need the space in the car.
Yeah.
So I didn't get any luggage piled on top of me.
I,
Whereas-
however, was drowning in wheelchairs
Yes.
and
She had pretty
Luggage.
much everything on top of her as she was in the back seat.
yeah.
Oh my god.
So
It was
yes,
hilarious.
And how much can you fit in your boot? Not much.
well, on a good day, I can usually fit 1 wheelchair and
Yeah.
Bag.
bags.
So you had
But not
one
2
wheelchair-
wheelchairs.
You had 1 wheelchair in the boot.
Oh, we had
And
2.
then-
We
Oh.
had 2 wheelchairs in the boot, so we managed to I think we took off some
Wheels, yeah. I think there was wheels flying everywhere.
Yes, and then
Oh
we
my
had one in the back seat with Rosie, and then we had the pillows and the suitcases and
Piled
swags.
on top of you.
Oh, I'll post the picture up on the Race Platform
Yeah.
Facebook page, because it's quite funny. You can
quite
see
funny.
me just in the background with my fingers. I had 3 fingers up to show that it was take 3.
3, yeah, take 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I think the post actually explains all 3 things
yeah, I
that,
think it does. That
happened.
happened.
Did
So-
you get to Torquay in time for said gig?
Yes,
we
just
did.
Good,
Just.
good,
just.
good. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so it was very important that we get there on time when
Yeah.
doors open, because
Because fangirls.
fangirls.
Wow, we've actually come towards the end of our show. Sad face. But we will be back next week, and we have Alex on the show next week, which is very exciting. We're going to be talking.
Very nice, very nice.
So we're going to be talking about access. So hopefully I'll have this interview with this guy for this festival. But if not, we're just going to talk about access and venues in general, because it's one of our favourite topics.
Awesome.
Oh, and Stella will be back on too.
Yes, Stella will be back on.
Yay.
Get ready for a Stella Says segment, people.
Yes, it's very exciting. And hopefully Veronica will be feeling better, so Veronica will be in. It'll be a full cast of people. It's going to be hectic in the
5
studio.
people.
Full house.
It's going to be awesome.
Get ready to rumble.
So stay tuned for Saturday. You have been listening to Raise a Platform on Sin 90.7.
Bye.
Bye.